Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. Today's all about planting your fall salad garden. I'm going to go over a couple of my favorite plants for salads, and I really recommend plant what you like. I enjoy salad. Different kinds of salads, of course. Spinach is one of my favorite. Radishes, carrots, we're going to put those in. I've already shown you how to get some of your fall crops started. I will link that video and put it in the description, and basically setting up the finger holes, putting in the organic fertilizer. I added in some peat moss, so I don't want to repeat that in every video, so I'll put a link in. We're also, because it's the end of July, got 2 days left, it's getting really hot. So you can use burlap, some clothespins, and I can show you how to kind of shade off these crops so that they do a little bit better. Now, when you're planting your fall garden while it's still hot out, take notes. So I'm putting it in today, July 30th. Some of these may get damaged, or they may turn out to be perfect. So you want to take notes, write down when you start your fall crops, and you adjust forward or backward as you need. I'm also putting in plants every 2 weeks into August, so something is going to work out. So we'll come back to this in a second. We're also going to go over to a container. I'm going to show you how to put peas in and use the shade cloth to really, keep them cooler. We did this last week. This is the video that I'm linking in, and I just wanted to show you the radishes are up. I'm watering this every other day, keeping the top nice and moist. You can see the radishes there, and also the peas are starting to pop up. Now, your cool weather crops may say it's going to take 45 days to maturity, 60 days to maturity. When you're planting in the warm weather, maturity date's going to come sooner because it's so warm, the soil's warm, they're going to really take off and grow. So I'm putting in carrots. About every 2 inches, put in a hole, maybe ½ an inch, ¼ inch, drop in 2 seeds, and then we're just going to cover them over. So this is one planting of carrots a week after the one that I just did behind me. Love spinach, 2 spinach seeds per hole, about 4 inches apart. The packaging says 6 inches, but I never wait really till everything is fully grown. I'm always taking it early. So I'll take out every other plant, leaving enough space for some of them to mature and get bigger. So it's 2 seeds in there, and then over here are the radishes, the Roxanne that I always talk about, and that's about 1 inch apart, 2 inches apart, 3 rows, 2 seeds in there. And when the radish seeds get to a little bit taller than what I just showed you, I'll thin them down to 1. For the spinach, it doesn't always germinate the best, so if 2 plants come up, 2 seeds come up, I'm going to leave that in there. That's perfectly fine. And then carrots, I'm going to thin down to 1 plant, depending on what comes up. But that's the basic way that I set up this area. And then I'll label it, but just cover the holes. Nothing fancy there. And this will be perfect for harvesting later August. For the radishes, they take about 30 days. Spinach takes about 45 days, and the carrots take about 60 days. All right, let me show you the pea setup for growing in containers, and then we'll do the burlap right here. So I'm going to put the pea plants right in there. In a container, you want to have something for them to trellis up. That's just fencing. And I just actually cut out a piece that would take over half the container. And before I filled it, I dropped in the trellising, and the weight of the container mix keeps that in place, and that's what we're going to grow the peas up. And in the front, I'm probably going to actually pop in a couple of bush beans. So you can see that it's overgrown. I'm going to weed it out, throw in a couple handfuls of granular organic fertilizer, some peat moss, and get that set up. I'll show you how to do that. So here's the container cleaned out, and it's not really the best container mix. I forget what I was doing with it, but I haven't watered it because nothing was growing in there but the grass. But it just doesn't have enough organic matter, so instead of peat moss, decided to use some of my sheep compost, sheep manure. That's been broken down for a good 2 years, so that will help keep moisture in here, especially for germinating seeds. Also, if you don't have manures or compost, handful of the organic fertilizer. I put about 2 in something this size. This is, I think, 17 gallons. And then you would just mix it all in. And this is all you do to set this up for peas and actually for the bush beans. We're going to drop the burlap right along the trellis because it's not going to be needed right now, but it's a great way to cast shade down here because my sun, the most intense sun, tracks around this way, so this will just be a cape sort of hanging down and keeping this container cool for the peas and the beans. Now, I have a new book coming out called The Modern Homestead Garden, and it's really about teaching the principles to help you become more self-sufficient in your gardens and in your life. So I talk about just the finger hole method, and for peas, about 1 inch down, 1 inch apart, and they're all going to just be put right into the holes. Now the holes are collapsing a little bit, so obviously you're going to push the pea down to about 1 inch deep. And then the bush beans, we're going to just do one here, and one here. The bush beans will hang over this way, the peas will grow up this way, and this will maximize the container. I love having peas, carrots, radishes, and spinach in my salads. Green beans, they get used a little bit differently. All right, let me get the seeds down. So peas, spinach, radishes, lettuces, the carrots, they can take a light frost. Peas, the leaves can actually take the frost, but if you have flowers and pea pods on there, they can't take the frost. So you really want to get your peas in so that they produce before that first frost comes. If you're having trouble with frost, remember you can eat the tendrils to the peas. So the peas, let's just drop them down there. The beans, let's do those first. 2 beans in that hole, 1 bean in this hole, 2 beans in that hole. So sometimes it's better to plant 2 seeds and thin. Make sure they get pressed down to about 1 inch and thin them down rather than waiting around for 1 seed. So that's down about 1 inch. We'll water this in shortly. Rather than waiting around for something to germinate that won't, plant extra seeds, thin them out. Since we're doing 1 inch apart, I'm only going to put 1 pea in each hole. If I was doing them 2 inches apart, I might drop in 2 seeds, and actually I have some extra, so we'll go every other with 2 seeds. And just make sure they're all down 1 inch. You don't want to go past that. And then we'll water this in, and let me just get up, set up the burlap in these 2 areas. Alright, so the peas, the beans are in, the burlap is up for the shade cloth, and I don't know about you guys, but it's been 95, 100 degrees with the heat index and humid here. I'm getting exhausted. In my video tomorrow on Friday Ramblings, I'll talk about burnout, because I get burned out about this time, and how do you kind of deal with that. And one of the ways is doing a little project like this. This kind of gets me re-energized, looking forward to the cool weather, the fall garden. But just drop the burlap down the trellis. I put it down the back rather than the front because there's a spiderweb in there that I want to leave intact. But that will give it a lot of protection. And if you need more, if the sun's really bad, you can just drop another piece of burlap right down there. They've been watered in. If you want to subscribe to my channel, I'll show you how I take care of these fall season crops. And it's just a single layer of burlap that will let in plenty of sun. If you need to protect them a little bit more, you can put a second layer across there. I've got to finish that out. And what you want to do is, you probably won't be lucky enough to be able to pin the burlap right to the framed bed, but you can just get any kind of post that's metal covered in plastic, or a piece of bamboo post like that, and just paper clip it down. Be extra generous with the overhang. You don't want the wind to come and blow this off if you're worried about the heat. But this is a great way to get your fall crops started now, get them established, you know, and get the first round of the fall garden to your table sooner. We're going to do this again in about 2 weeks and 3 weeks to have a continuous supply of your fall weather vegetables. Now, arugula is really heat sensitive. That's not going to get put in till really middle or later August. And the lettuce that I'm putting in now is a romaine. It takes about 60 days to form its loose leaf head that I want. But the other types of lettuces may mature in 45 days. Those are going to wait too. It's a little bit too hot for some of your lettuces and for arugula. Hope you enjoyed the video, give you some confidence, and maybe energizes you a little bit to get that fall garden started. If you're interested, please pre-order my book. It really will walk you through learning how to garden better, understanding the basic principles, and hopefully make you a little more self-sufficient. Thanks for watching.